Stop praying long enough to put some food in your mouth. One day you will starve to death.
Welcome back to Disney Marvels for week of July 17th, 2022. This is episode 187. Disney Marvels, the show about Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Muppets, Pixar, 20th Century, the parks, and much, much more. If it has to do with Disney, it's fair game. I'm your host, Matthew Graken. Sorry, no survey this week. Had a bunch going on this weekend. Didn't get one out. I will try to amend that this upcoming weekend. Live shows got me busy. What can I say? If you were one of the ones that joined us in Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, thank you. Thank you for coming. Your participation is appreciated, and showing up is appreciated. If you're not one of the ones who have joined in on the fun on Saturday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, then please come on in. It's free. It's always a good time. The more people, the merrier, as I say at the end of the show. So, yeah, that's been going on. I got another episode coming up this week, and I'll let you know what the topic is soon. And on that note, we'll be back after these messages from our friends and sponsors. And now, on with the show. It's not often New Jersey is recognized for having heroes or being a place that superheroes comes out of. But Marvel has gifted us, saying that New Jersey is worthy of having superheroes. Most of them come from New York. This one decided to come from New Jersey. Well, it didn't decide. Ms. Marvel, the latest Disney Plus series, has wrapped up. Has been presented to us in full now, and we are here to discuss it. And to help me discuss it, I have to, of course, have on my galactic, omnipresent, all-seeing friend. Isaac, of course, is here to help us understand the ways of Ms. Marvel and look forward to more New Jersey superheroes, possibly. Isaac, welcome aboard.
Hey, thank you for having me back on the show, man. It's always a pleasure being back with you, man.
Oh, it's always great to have you on the show, and I think that was one of the most convoluted introductions I have done.
Yes, it was.
To date.
Yes, it was.
So, so 6 episodes are down. It was a very different path than the ones that we've had so far.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You know, I would say the least. It felt a little different. You know, in the beginning, it was one of the, you know, we just came from Moon Knight, which I thought a different tone in terms of more maturity and dealing with superheroes with multiple personalities, sort of to not kind of go into a more kid lighthearted show that in the beginning I was like, okay, didn't really know much about. I mean, I knew a little bit of Miss Marvel, that she was a Jersey City represented in Jersey, and in terms of other things though, but in terms of the show, we didn't know exactly how it was going to end. And after kind of watching the 6 episodes, I thought it was a decent show. I thought it was a decent show. I felt like the first and the last episodes were the strongest, and I think those were done by Aldi Al-Dabri and Bilal Fallah were the 2 directors. I think they did both one and the final episodes. I thought they were the best ones in terms of their ideas and camera angles and a lot of the lighthearted stuff. I noticed that in the beginning of the episodes, they tend to lean more towards that the Diary of a Wimpy Kid in terms of the animations and the things that would pop up.
Yeah,
I thought
definitely very Wimpy Kiddish in that aspect.
Yeah. I thought they were going to continue more of that, but it seemed like as the episodes tapered off to the other directors, it became more of a traditional Marvel series at the end until later back in the series. So, but no, I thought it was a decent series in terms of how things were set up. So.
Yeah, it's much more narrative based than action based.
Mm-hmm.
Where most of the other ones had been a lot more, except for WandaVision. WandaVision was more narrative.
Yeah.
Until towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been a lot more action based. And this one gave us, it was more geared towards a younger audience. And you have to accept that. Yeah, that's something going in you have to accept. You're not going to get the cursing. You're not going to get the big or the heavier undertones of dark stories and stuff, at least not yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 16-year-old girl. You're gonna have to tell it appropriately. So I was fine with that. I enjoyed the ride. Did I find the most compelling in dragging me in all the time? No. You're right. The first episode, the last episode were 2 of the stronger episodes. I would even say the 5th episode in there as well, where they went back and you went back in time. You learn more about the partition and the great grandmother, as it were.
Yeah.
So you get more of the backstory that way.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, there wasn't, what I found interesting with this one, there wasn't a real centralized villain.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think that what the show, and I think that I feel like that you could say that was one of the show's weaker moments. There was no main bad guy. I mean, there was at the end, but let's be honest. What was it? The DC. I think it was
the Department of Damage Control.
The Department of
DODC.
Damage Control was really one of the weak elements of, I felt, in this entire show, because I don't know exactly what Marvel or what Kevin Feige are doing with it. Honestly, people who are aware of the comic books is that this special department has a lot of Tony Stark tech, as it was revealed was one of the drones that were used to not only hunt down Spider-Man, but also to kind of hunt down later in the episode, hunt down Bruno and I forgot the other gentleman. In the show. I apologize for that. Cameron, I think it was Cameron or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I think it was like Cameron or something. Yeah, in that respect. So yeah, Cameron. So yeah, and also if you also paid attention, that sound blast gun was a weapon called back from the Incredible Hulk. That
Oh,
was
yes.
used, yeah, in the first Incredible Hulk movie. So yeah, for a department to have a lot of Tony Stark tech to be this to kind of be outs by a bunch of teenagers through a Home Alone segment was just a little bit unsettling. And mind you, I feel like this is the same team that they're probably going to use for Armor Wars, which would make total sense between Ironheart and them with Stark's stuff. So yeah, right now it's not a great showing for that that secret society department to show up the way that they did.
Well, let's face it. The
To
first
be
time
strong at this moment.
yeah, the first time that we met them wasn't anything awe-inspiring either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, but I felt like that was just really unforgettable. Like that part. Like to be honest, like I don't even remember. I do remember the actor that played it, but honestly,
It's the same ones.
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't even know that he was a part of that department. That I really didn't know about. I thought he was just like a normal beat cop in New York, trying to find out the case, and then I guess revealed that he's a part of that organization. But yeah, I felt like that was really one of the weaker parts in that show. There was no real centralized villain. At the end, again, like you said, at the end of its core, it was more of a show of just basically a teen discovering her powers. But really, what makes the show strong is just the sense of family and community that was echoed out throughout the entire series. I thought what made it the best, one of the better shows, and and on top of that, it's also kind of comforting to know that you have a young superhero that has both of his parents still alive.
Yep.
Not like that other superhero from Queens that lost both his aunt and uncle. That guy's swinging around. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm playing.
Yep.
But
you got both his parents. You got
brother.
Well, you got the guy in California as well, who's going around doing his kung fu that doesn't got his parents.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Well,
he had his dad. His dad turns out to be the bad guy and got eaten by a
dragon.
dragon.
Out to be bad guy. Yeah, exactly. His dad turned out to be a bad guy though. But he got eaten by a dragon. Yeah, which stinks.
After getting his mother killed, and so
exactly though. But we did digress though. But yeah, I felt like that was really the show's strength really does come from more of the family elements and not less than the comic book ones too, because I don't know exactly what you felt about I don't know what you felt about her going to cosmic powers. What was your feeling with them going a little bit of that route for a good part of the show before she decided to go in big and
did the little bigging thing at the end. Well, they reference it in the first episode where she saves the girl and her hand turns big and slides across.
Yeah.
So
it was more crystallized, if you remember that.
Right. It wasn't so much her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with it too much. I'm trying to think of any other instances where they have changed up characters' powers, even in some of the expanded areas. Nothing completely comes to mind. So this is kind of more of a first instance of. Yeah, she. I can't say. To me, it actually makes her more intriguing.
Yeah.
Like instead of being another Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, you really think so? Interesting.
Well, I mean, what do you think? Okay, so she stretches and she gets big. That's Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
There really wasn't too much otherwise to her power, so this just enhances it a little more. Um,
Yeah,
and gives
because
her more that
mhm.
cosmic connection to Miss to Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Other than that, it's the bangle that really kind of brings out the cosmic powers.
Well,
The
and as
the cosmic side of it, anyway.
yeah, they said, well, the bangle enhanced something that was already there.
There.
So the powers and everything is from there, and of course, there's always that quick little line at the end of episode 6 where a certain M word is mentioned.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to talk about that. I figured we'd hold that later. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that
We can talk about it later, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying for now for this part, that
Mhm.
that line was intentionally dropped.
Oh
So,
yeah, 100%.
uh,
That and that line was definitely called from Kevin Feige himself. To like, yeah,
yes,
you could say
yeah,
that.
that was run by him. He said, "No, please put that in there." So that was intentional, 100% intentional, and backed up to be in there. So Feige doesn't do anything by accident,
Yeah.
and he won't let things happen
Oh yeah.
without a reason. So for her powers to be portrayed that way,
Mhm.
and that were to happen, spells out a lot more to come.
I agree.
The problem I have, not so much, and here's one of my big critiques, my critiques on the show. I don't know how you felt about it,
Mhm.
but as I didn't have so much a problem with the cosmic power aura, I
Okay.
had a problem with the graphics of it.
Yeah, you know what? I was gonna say a little bit about that because a little about the special effects. Granted, not. I mean, they weren't bad in certain situations though,
No,
but you could tell. But there are moments in the special effects, I'll say that there were some great ones where you saw the reflection of Kamala Khan's character running on. You saw that reflection of light while she's running on her cosmic lights and stuff like that. I thought that was really good. And then there was that moment, especially in episode 6, where she was kind of parkouring all the way down to meet with Bruno and Kanal. I thought there were
yeah,
some
yeah,
great moments where it was great. But yeah, but when it came to like the final fight scenes, yeah, a lot of those special effects looked really rough.
it was
Down,
almost
down,
like
down the
regular
hatch.
TV type of stuff, not
Not
lower. No, I won't say lower
Marvel's.
budget, but it was maybe
Not.
rushed. It just wasn't
It wasn't.
standard.
It wasn't the standard Marvel standard that they're used to doing. And I think there was a bit of a situation about with the visual effects department right now was Marvel at the moment though, but yeah, I think other than that, it going back, I know that the show strains are really its characters, and to kind of start with the lead, Kamala Khan, played by Iman Vanali, right now is an amazing, delightful, just bubbly actress right now that they got to play Kamala Khan. I think she's just adorable. She's likable. When you really go to see her journey, like she is just incredibly amazing as a person to like the point where like it's weird, like I don't have a family, but I feel like I want to be a dad to her and say that you can't date any guys until you're 40 kind of like
Protector,
situation.
yep.
She is that kind of adorable. She is incredibly adorable throughout this entire show, and it really strangely shows for a woman that is. I think this is her first acting gig, her
Yes.
first ever acting gig. So so to kind of just to be that personable, not only in the show and now after watching the show, listening to her in the interviews, and she knows her stuff. She's a big Marvel fan, like she said. She's been since she was 6. She said that she's grown up watching the MCU, so she really knows her MCU stuff.
She's basically kind of in much the way that Robert Downey Jr. was playing himself as Tony Stark. She's playing herself as Kamala Khan.
As a fan, like she's literally a fan. She's just a big fan who happens to be cast as Kamala Khan in this show. And I thought that was incredible. So I thought that was fantastic. Yeah, so I really did enjoy her. I also enjoyed the family that was also mentioned, like Hassan played with Fadal Khan, who played the older big brother. Was the little gags in there. Zabona Sharaf, who played the mother in there, and Mohan Kapur, who played Yusuf Khan. I loved them both together.
Yes.
I thought they added a great dynamic with the always constantly worry, overprotective mother on the other hand, and then the father that'll always agree with the mother.
He backed up the mother.
You
can see that he wanted to help her, but he had to back up the.
Always has to back up the wife. So.
Yeah, on this week's live show, I did my top 5 for Ms. Marvel, and the family dynamic was like my number 3 spot. I think it was one of my top. It was one of the things I pointed out in my top 5. Yeah, number 3 was the family dynamic. I love the family dynamic in her, her being the awkward teenager trying to fit in while this other event going on, her brother's wedding, is happening. She wants to help out, but she doesn't want to get in the way. The family's busy focusing on this big event, and the mother again being protective. Even just sit down to her trying to start to drive.
Yeah.
And just like, oh, I screwed that up too again. Walking into high school, and she's trying to be all friendly and everyone's basically ignoring her.
Yeah. No, and you really do get that. You really do get that vibe. Like, even though that I'm not a Pakistani, I really do get that foreign family vibe that kind of exists in a lot of foreign families, whether if you are Pakistani or you're African or you're a little bit Asian that's come from another country to America. You really do get those very home body protective vibes of trying to adulterate your culture, and you can really do see it with Kamala Khan, because at the end she is a duality right now. You go home, you're with your family that really preaches their culture, but then when you step out of that home, you do try to fit more of the Western situation, and you do feel where she fits in, in a weird way. It's like, and I don't want to say that she was shameful of her Pakistani roots,
no,
but you also do feel like there was that tug of war of trying to figure how can I have both and how can I fit within the world that is created. As every teenager trying to kind of find himself and trying to represent your parents, but also trying to be yourself. And
not just that, taking that one step further. So, her parents are immigrated from Pakistan to the United States, so they are Pakistani by birth.
Mm-hmm.
And then immigrated to America. So they're learning the culture. She was born here in the United States and is trying to make, her identity, as far as she sees, is American, but you have the family also putting on, your heritage is the Pakistani, this is what we do, and the Muslim aspect of it, this is your religion, and this is what you need to do to be respectful of that.
Yeah.
So trying to find that nature. So she's in America, she doesn't fit in because she's Pakistani and Muslim. But when she went to Pakistan, she didn't fit in because she was American.
Yep.
Why are you wearing jeans? Look at this outfit. Look. So, you have that displaced persons, like you were saying, as far as culturally, how does she fit in? She doesn't fit in either place.
Yeah.
And I liked how they one about that and showing that. I liked something else I put in the top 5 was the community. Showing her community,
It's very
which
big.
played a big part in the end,
Mm-hmm.
coming around to, try and direct her at certain times, and just try, showing different aspects of her community that she belongs to.
Oh yeah.
I mean, literally, her community surrounds her at the end.
Yes, that's big. Honestly, it's kind of like, again, that Spider-Man trope of how New York has Spider-Man's back, or Jersey City, or a small part of it within the Muslim community has Kamala Khan's. And I think once again that's one of the strongest elements of the show was the family and the community aspect of it. Even with the friends that she had, with Yasheen Fletcher, with Nakala being the strong best friend, a little bit stubborn, headstrong best friend, and then clearly Bruno played with Matt Lintz, which I totally enjoyed as being the best friend. However, it is a little weird that like I feel like I feel like Marvel goes after a Tony Parker look. if you noticed, with him, so
yeah,
so and he's super smart too, just like Tony Parker. Of course. So you definitely know they have a particular look. But no, like you also and you love him too because he's the adorable best friend that you hopefully they get together, but he's clearly the best friend, and in that situation. So
now here's something strange.
Yeah.
So he works in that little mart. He lives above the mart.
Mm-hmm.
Does he ever mention anything about a family?
I don't recall. I don't recall him ever mentioning a family. Are they following the Peter Parker? I mean, if they're really going after the Peter Parker look where he has no family, then they definitely do have a tie.
Well, I see, that's kind of that is kind of the weird thing, is that and I should have gone back. But I didn't think of it until just now. Gone back to episode 5 when the one character ends up in his apartment, and I think he mentioned something about a family at that point, and Bruno just kind of shuts it off, or it gets cut off. So they intentionally, it seemed like they were avoiding any type of family scenario, story, connection, anything to do with family with him.
Interesting.
So
do you think there's a reason why they did that?
I wouldn't be surprised if there was. I'd be a little more disappointed if they just didn't write it in.
Okay, so here's an interesting theory. Apparently, maybe there's a reason why they didn't do that, and it makes probably a lot more sense of why he's very intelligent and very smart. Could they be setting up that apparently there's a bad guy called the Inventor?
Okay.
Could that play, maybe if they decide to have a season 2 of Ms. Marvel, could that play into the idea that maybe Bruno has a smart dad that was an inventor, and maybe that's a part that Bruno doesn't want to bring up, that there could be evil in his family tree in some way? Because again, the guy, it seems like this 15-year-old is going to be going to Caltech, who all of a sudden is a gifted geneticist who's able to figure out, who's playing geneticist. So I mean, maybe that's the reason why they didn't really bring up the family his family background. But then again, maybe they did, and we're just kind of just saying things at the moment. But that could probably be one thing that they're holding in their cap to see of how well Miss Marvel does, and where they go with that character. I mean, we know what they're going with that character, though. But in terms of what they do, in terms of a season 2, they wanted it.
Yeah, I'm looking on the marvel.fandom.com website about his the write-up on him.
Mm-hmm.
And even under here, I mean, it just says there's no other aliases. He's human. But where it says relatives, nothing.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
But no dual identity. He's the only person that knows who Kamala Khan is, Ms. Marvel. He helps the family cover her heroic activities, or helps her cover heroic activities from her parents. They met in the 2nd grade. Oh, okay. No, here it does mention a backstory to him. He had recently been removed. Let's see. Bruno met Kamala when they were in the 2nd grade. He had recently been removed from his mother's custody because of drug problems, and had been handed over to his grandparents. They were struggling to make ends meet. At the time, Bruno seemed poorly taken care of. The Khans offered to pay the activity fees for Bruno's grandparents could afford, and convinced Kamala to sit with him. Though she was reluctant at first, they ended up forming a close friendship.
Okay. Cool. Okay. And that's actually not bad. And we still don't know anything about the father's side of the whole situation. So
apparently he has a brother named Vic.
Okay. So they could still kind of hold. So in a weird way, they can kind of hold that card if they wanted to. If they wanted to bring that back. And again, this is not 6-1. This is not the official 616. This is the MCU. So, clearly the MCU is taking liberties of other storylines to kind of create their own world in this. So, yeah, I think anything can honestly be possible in that. I think that's very, very, very possible.
Yeah, and let's see. It also mentions that he is generally intelligent, exceptional degree of intelligence with an IQ of 170.
Very smart.
Oh.
Just like Bruno, so
yeah,
it's a very possibility.
You never know.
You never know. You never know.
I mean, the MCU does not have to follow the comic book canon.
Clearly they're not.
No.
Clearly not. Especially, like you said, what was already announced. So, no. But, yeah. But
I like their adventures together. I liked at the beginning, that their little adventures together. It was just kind of them, trying to have other friends, but not as genuine as the two of them.
Okay.
So, again, that it's just the dynamics.
Yeah.
For you to really know this character of Kamala Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Like how many other we don't very often get to know our superhero characters as intimately as we did this one. Even whenever we were getting introduced to Kate Bishop,
yeah,
you got some, but not to this level.
Yeah,
I feel. So, I
agree.
Yeah.
I agree on that. Yeah, but I think other than that, it's just other than some of the special effects.
How did you feel with the pacing of it?
Okay. It is what it is in terms of a show. Where Marvel, unfortunately, other than maybe WandaVision, I just feel like, and maybe to Hawkeye to a certain extent, the other shows have had issues in terms of No, actually, Loki. I think Loki actually had a pretty interesting season.
Loki, I think, had really
I know,
good pacing.
I think Loki had really good pacing. I think out of all of them, I think Loki had the strongest season finale because it actually set up everything else. Yeah, I think in terms of pacing the Marvel shows, I don't think it was honestly not one of the better shows. Again, and I think that came. I won't say it was one of the bad shows, but I won't say it's one of the best. Again, that came from the changes of directors. Again, like, for one moment you thought you were, and how the trailer set it up. It felt like you were gonna get one style, and then it kind of went into your typical Marvel fashion, which I was gonna actually recall something again, where it's like even though there's some tween moments, it's clearly made for a younger audience. It did have a lot of mature themes, in terms of death, in terms of Daka shooting at kids. It's like,
you got the death, you got the segregation.
Moments. Yeah, segregation. Some of the light, the very low key of just being disrespectful and discriminating. In one way, especially the DACA, or the I'll keep on saying DACA, the agent.
Yeah.
The agent literally felt very low key in her pursuit. Let's just say going into the mosque and being very disrespectful the way that she did. And especially that blowout, that hair. Wow, Lord. That's the thing that I think I looked at the most. That is probably one of that blowout screams definitely Karen in the highest order. But yeah. So yeah, no, the show did, in its Marvel way, did touch on some very, very mature details, and to that, I think that's well. But in terms of like story pacing, it started off strong in the first and sixth, but then it just kind of dragged. There were moments where it does drag a little bit because, like you said, a lot of it does play. A good chunk of the episodes does talk about the focus on the community and the family aspects, and really just trying to get the fan base is more familiar with the Muslim Pakistani culture, mostly with the Muslim culture. Really, that's really it, because it talks more family than anything, with superhero stuff sprinkled in, pretty much. So
yeah,
if you're not into the whole idea of just the whole family aspect of it, I could see it being very, very much of a turn on, because the superhero aspect doesn't. Granted, it's important. It's not really what carries the story forward, pretty much.
No, and in my travels in life, I've always tried to pick up from different cultures where I've visited, and just in what makes them unique. What are certain things that speak to those cultures? So for me to see a show like this, oh great, I don't have to travel to Pakistan to learn these type of things. It's just something that I've naturally done in my life, and again, as I've traveled to many different countries, vastly different than our own.
Yeah.
So it's I have no issues with that. I think it is something that people, and just in general, should pay more attention to. So for me, it was a non-issue. It was just nice. It was nice for me to witness and see. Unfortunately, some people may have a problem with that. That's their prerogative. But I, instead of looking at the differences, look at the similarities. The scene with the wedding. It's like, okay, you're only supposed to take one shoe. You took two. A number of, families, that's a tradition. At the wedding when the two brides are next to each other and complimenting each other's dresses and stuff. I thought was a nice moment. As far as the pacing of the entire show, yeah, I think I remember telling you, episode 2, almost the same as episode 1. It was just like, okay, this happens, this happens, this happens. At the end, she saves somebody in a weird sort of way, and it wasn't. It was very slow and at the beginning. Unfortunately, as a number of them are, but this one just felt additionally slower.
Yeah.
But as we started to peel the layers back and get more involved into things, that worked a lot better.
Yeah.
It's not like Moon Knight where we see Moon Knight, briefly and cut the episode ends, and we just get a flash of him and the powers. This one, we see the powers and her starting to figure it out. And throughout the series, she's collecting pieces of her uniform. Now, granted, that's not what becomes her uniform. Her mom hands her uniform, which takes a lot of cues from her Muslim heritage in the way that's designed and presented on her.
Which is beautiful, by the way.
I love her outfit. I think it's just really cool.
Her costume looks amazing.
Yeah.
Great design. I was thinking about that. Granted, I unfortunately the design has been kind of ruined, by leaks way before even the show even aired, and another leak, unfortunately. There was the Disney cruise. I don't know if you've seen the Disney cruise.
Yeah.
Kind of leaked it way before that. So, but no, even then, it's still a beautiful, well-designed outfit, designed to be able to incorporate the Pakistani designs in her outfit, and to kind of make a superhero. I think that's just awesome. I love that idea of still being able to put whoever, whether it would be a Kamala Khan or even Shang-Chi, to kind of be able to incorporate, or even going back to Black Panther with T'Challa and the more the Laje, to be able to incorporate the superhero identity, to be able to call their identity into their superhero outfit is just so cool, and it's such a great idea. And I think it creates really that, and again, even going back to what you're saying about Marvel at least being ballsy enough to take on a lesser character like Kamala Khan, and to know that it may not be well received by everybody for their certain issues, but I do like the fact that representation does matter. Whoever's listened to that, and to know that me, who's watched a lot of these reactions, especially ones of Muslim heritage, to just kind of be happy to know that they have a hair character that they can kind of look up to, and it's being represented in the most positive light, and which is most importantly, because like you said, with everything that's happened over the last 20 decades involving Muslims, they have not been put in the best light. So to kind of have Disney try to present the fun, the well-mannered, the simple culture of that, they're just normal like everybody else, but they just go through this. They have a mask, they wear hijabs and all this stuff. I think it's important. They're just normal people, but they just have a totally different culture. So I do appreciate Disney really, really be able to stand behind that, to stand behind cultures, and to show the beauty of it in a superhero form. I think it's very, very good on Disney's part, whether you feel that it is a bit of a marketing ploy or that, but I think it's good on Disney that's doing that.
And like I've said in the past, it's not out of Marvel's place that they've, it's not like they haven't done this before. Again, when they introduced Black Panther in the 60s, was it early 70s? there was no other character like that either. There, a African American or just African main character or superhero running around. You didn't have that. And here, 50 plus years later, he's still around. He's a beloved character, particularly in the movies. With Chadwick Boseman's portrayal of T'Challa in the Black Panther. It's no one bats an eyelash now at that. So this is, it's just Marvel repeating history. Okay, we did this before. We're doing it again now with this character. And again, I applaud them. I think they did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, how do you feel about anything else about the series you want to talk about before we give our overall rating and MVPs?
No, I'm good. Let's get into it.
All right. So overall, out of 10, Isaac, how would you rate this? Let's go with the series as a whole.
You know what? It gets.
I didn't get that. Could you try?
My watch is talking to me.
You didn't get the rating?
Yeah, I didn't hear what your rating was.
What was your rating again? You know what? I'm going to give this a 7. I'll give this a 7 out of 10. Again, I thought that a part of me is I really did enjoy, like I said, even though that 1 and 6 were the more stronger episodes, and like you said, the story changes. Its strength really does rely on its community, and they've done a really good job of not only making this community feel more inclusive, more warm and inclusive, and very tight knit. They also did a great job of making that community feel like they came from New Jersey, even though it was shot in Atlanta, Georgia. So
I think that's my biggest problem with the show.
Yeah,
you're gonna make it New Jersey. Come up 195. Come up 95. We're right here.
Yeah, exactly. So you do feel like there are some sense. I mean, I'm bet there are probably people who are watching it probably saying that's not what Jersey City looks like. You're probably right. But there's
no Carlos Bakery.
But there was. But in terms of the family aspects of it, yeah, I like watching it and how that works out. It's like I could see that. I could go to Jersey City and see a portion of that nestled in Jersey City. If I were to walk there and see that, I could totally see that. So they really did do a great job of that aspect of the show. I think that gets a 7 on me.
Yeah, it's I out of 10, strangely enough, gave it a 7 as well. And I what Isaac was laughing about before, I wrote down a piece of paper at the beginning of the show, my rating, which I plugged into IMDb a few days ago. Showed him that I gave it a 7 right after he announced that he gave it a 7 as well. So that's what he was laughing about. There's more questions out of this show that have yet to be answered and come to fruition. The symbol of the 10 rings at the location where they found the one bangle, the bangle being on a blue arm of some sort. What does this all translate into? I think that these are questions that we may get answers to eventually. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get answers at all for some of them, but we'll get eventually. So there's a few things that are left open, but I think that's a good thing that we don't have all the answers.
And to jump into it, we won't have all the answers. We also have to remember, though, whatever you have this aired. I don't know when you'll get this aired, but
in 2 days, on Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay. Actually, that works out perfectly because San Diego Comic Con is this week. So,
true.
A lot of for a lot of fans are concerned that there's no real direction I think you're gonna get. I believe we're going to get a lot of information on how this all ties in together. Hopefully, it's San Diego
And
Comic Con.
Feige has said
Yeah,
there is a direction.
it's
It's not
quiet,
apparent now. We will see it soon.
and nor was it apparent when it first started out that we're gonna get the Avengers Initiative too. So
No.
it was hinted, but again, it took time to build it. Like again, after the events of Endgame, we're just kind of going through this soft reboot right now of reintroduce. Now this is the time to reintroduce a brand new slew of characters into the hopefully the big thing that ties everything together, or the next big event that leads everybody to working together in some big collaboration movie or some sort.
And here's what I have to say to that is that everyone enjoy this. We don't need to have a huge compass pointing us in a direction. Enjoy the individual stories. Enjoy these, little moments of here's about this character and here's about that character. Here's a little adventure going on here and this character's over here doing that thing before everything gets really tangled back together. Because for everyone who's complaining before that, oh, well, I have to watch 20 some movies to be able to watch this next movie. You don't have to do that now. You don't have to have seen anything to sit down and watch Moon Knight. You don't have to sit down to know anything to watch Ms. Marvel. These movies, these shows are now really on their own. You really, anticipation of She-Hulk, there's not too much that you need to know about going into that either.
Exactly.
So,
Mm-hmm.
not that I've seen anything about it, but so you have these things. When Echo comes out, all right, you will have to watch Hawkeye. Hawkeye does involve a little more, but I think Hawkeye did a good enough job showing you within that series of who the character is. So you need very limited to go into to understand him. So yeah, we have this moment where you don't need to have watched every single movie to watch the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you've seen Thor yet, but Love and Thunder.
I've not seen Thor yet.
Okay,
but
so we won't ask you your take on that.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet, so eventually I'll get to it.
And if you listen to David and I's review, you're okay with that.
All right, perfect. Yeah, no, so yeah, totally. In terms of characters,
yes, your MVP.
My most MVP character. So you know what? Part of me would want to say, I want to go with Amon Vanali's take on Kamala Khan because she's so adorable. But I feel like there was one character that has captured my heart, and especially at a very end of season 6, and that has to be Mohan Kafur of Yusuf Khan, the father. And I think that, and I apologize if that was. I think what was great about the father, especially at the end scene, it could, the way that he was able to. He's such an amazing. You love that guy. It's like you want to protect him because he's such a really caring dad. And especially at the end of that scene where he explains, even though it's probably not even that true, whether it is or not, kind of explains the origin of the Miss Marvel name. It came out. It sounds corny, but the way that he delivered it had so much heart and so much feeling to it that you kind of believe it. And I think he's just been a pleasant, fun character throughout this entire series. You just love him. He's just a lovable, great dad. So I'm going to give my most valuable character to Yusuf. Yusuf Khan.
So just a quick look up on the internet. You can trust everything on there.
Yeah.
So it's what's it say in Urdu? It means perfection, superiority, distinction, something along that line. So it wouldn't be too far off to say Marvel.
No. Yeah, and then I know they're different. There's a lot more.
Born of the Lotus, desirous, beautiful. So
between different religions and stuff, where Kamala's name,
yeah, so loosely, it's not a too far of a that conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw my reaction, but my MVP would also go to the gentleman that spoke these lines. Do you know why we named you Kamala? Your mother and I tried for years to have a second child. We almost lost all hope. And then you came, Beta. You were so perfect. That's what Kamala means in Arabic. Perfect. But in Urdu, it means more like, what's the word? Wonder. Marvel. Kamala means marvel. That scene alone. Yes. That and when he dressed up as the Hulk.
Yeah, that was kind of funny too. It just has so much heart. It had so much heart in that scene, and it ties back into the whole family aspect of it. That you just love the family community and togetherness of that, And
Mohan Kapoor's performance was just so captivating and so heartfelt and just natural and warm.
And you know what, man? I'll even admit, I think that even though I felt like that scene was a bit cheesy in terms of how it was delivered, it's the delivery of that feels so heartwarming about it. And that is why I was like, you know what? I believe it. I believe it. And he's just such a wonderful, lovable character that keeps Kamala Vanali's character so grounded. And yeah, I that was such a joyous scene. Yeah, and he's such a delightful actor throughout the whole entire thing.
Yeah. In the first episode, whenever he's walking up to the door and he's going to knock on it, and they did the little clip to make it, okay. It just he just had such a great performance and was such a joyous character. Like you said, if someone else did it, if they didn't find that right actor, those whole thing could have just, that whole character could have just been too cheesy, just annoying.
Yeah.
And unbelievable. But
you're right.
They again, credit to Marvel's casting department, found the perfect actor for that portrayal. And that last scene where they're sitting on the rooftop together and he delivers that line giving her monarchy, Monkir, is just so endearing and just so special. That's that father-daughter moment, that father-daughter bond, that is just absolutely beautiful and lovely.
Okay.
Yeah, the mother did a great job. I enjoyed the mother, the stern mother, and then the grandmother go, but you did that. You were the same way. Wait, you ran away from, just calling her out.
Mm-hmm.
Those were enjoyable. I like those. I really enjoyed those moments. I loved, I loved the grandmother. I loved, and how she picked on the mother. And then the mother, Kamala's like, wait a second, you did that. I like that. But really, the father was just. I enjoyed their moments, and I wish there was more.
Exactly. No, exactly. I think that they did well. I think they did well in that. It was a very interesting series, and then we'll see where that goes. I don't know if you're interested in talking about the M word that was dropped.
Well, since we made it this far without mentioning it, let's mention, like a mutation growing on the show. Let's bring up when Bruno said, It's not that the powers come directly from are being enhanced by the British. That there's a mutation to you,
Mm-hmm.
something that makes you separate and different. Why your brother in your family, no one else is able to do this.
Yes.
And followed by a musical cue, just by chance. Just by
Yeah.
chance, there happened to be a musical cue there too.
Let's just say a particular theme.
Na-na-na-na-na.
Yep, the particular X-Men theme that was thrown in there. Okay, so what is your take of? So I'll actually let me start when I said that, because when they dropped that line, the mutation line, part of me felt kind of like, I was like, no, you're gonna go that way, so you're gonna ignore the inhuman side of it. But after a couple of days, I mean, let's be honest, the X-Men are the far more better property that everybody's been looking forward to for such a long time to enter into the MCU. So to kind of have Kamala Khan be quote unquote the first, not even quote unquote. It's already, Kevin Feige's already said that, and the show writer also came to have said that clearly she is a mutant. She is the first mutant to be kind of ushered into it. Is a very big deal in terms of the line of introducing to finally introducing into the MCU properly. And at the end of the day, it kind of has, I want to say, wash away the misstep with the Inhumans, because let's be honest, X-Men for the while, X-Men was Fox during that time, and the hope was using the Inhumans to kind of replace the X-Men, and clearly that didn't work out well. So, just to kind of go with mutant, it's the more safer choice. It doesn't really have to introduce a general audience into telling, okay, what's the difference between a mutant or an Inhuman. You would just kind of stick to just stay mutant, same thing. And also going back to what we're saying, that this is a different universe, so the rules don't really have to apply in terms of the origins and stuff like that. So, but that was my take. What was your take when they dropped the M word, the mutant line?
I like it. I was a little taken back, but I was like, oh, really? We're going there. And but like you said, they're this has been sanctioned. They're slowly integrating. They have to bring it in somehow, and it's not something you could just all of a sudden drop in. Oh wait, all of a sudden there they are. So you have to build it and show it. This is not the first time that we've gotten this. So this is the first time they get a major character that we're following has been declared or suggested to be a mutant. But let's not forget who appeared in Multiverse of Madness, but Charles Xavier himself.
Correct. Yes, he did. Yes.
So we are being fed these things, and let's not forget, X-Men 97 comes out next year, or is in the works. I believe comes out next year.
Mm-hmm.
So that is coming along shortly as well. We don't know what that is going to completely hold for things. I mean, it's a continuation from the 90s animated series. We know that. But we've already had What If crossover into the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
That was a completely animated thing as well. Originally, as far as anyone knew, that was going to be standalone, but no, here it is, part of the MCU. Is it possible that X-Men somehow are just going to start weaved into this beautiful tapestry that we already have?
Mm-hmm.
This is yet to be seen. It was a little strange at first, But I don't have a problem with it. I think it kind of makes sense in a way. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
it's so again, it's not the bangle. It just activating the powers, and that has been something that was established in X-Men. Sometimes an event or an object or something helps bring on the powers and enhance them and bring it. Like Cyclops' visor. The visor isn't the thing. It just helps him control it. Same thing with his brother Havoc. His suit helps hone and control his powers. What's to say this bangle of unknown origin that might have a connection to the Ten Rings uh, doesn't do a similar thing?
No, you're right. And also, you could also comfortably go back to the little hints. You could even go back to WandaVision with Scarlet Witch.
True.
Remember, like, everybody thinks the cube played a part in giving them powers, but what we learned through WandaVision is that no, she had something in her way before that cube, before she volunteered in Supervolia. It was a cube situation. So yeah, they've been quiet. Once we knew that they were going to incorporate the X-Men at some point, but what you're starting to see is that they've been quietly dropping hints, little by little, up to this point, either through Patrick Stewart cameo, or with the Scarlet Witch, or with now, once again, them saying mutations in Miss Marvel. They've been dropping those very small hits throughout the series, and I think, again, hopefully at San Diego Comic-Con we'll get more information on how that all ties in together, though. So
I find it interesting that initially Kevin Feige is, no, we're not doing anything with the X-Men. We're putting them on the shelf, and we have no plans for them anytime soon. Again, our trust is in Kevin Feige, who lies to us all the time, but we are thankful for it.
no.
Because if he told us everything, we wouldn't have anything to be excited about it. Oh, wait a second, and kind of discover on our own.
Kevin Feige holds his cards very close to his vest.
Yes.
Very close to his vest, and it's paid dividends so far in terms of with the MCU universe. So no, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's fun. There's going to be a lot more things happening, hopefully, in the MCU that we're going to get pumped for. Yeah, and I'm very excited about it. And it's even funny that what's funny about what we talked about. We didn't even talk about the last cut scene, which was Carol Devil. That it's so funny that people don't talk about basically Captain Marvel showing up at the end. That the mutant thing, that word of the end took more precedent than Captain Marvel, Brie Larson showing up in the series at the end, which is incredible. That's how much people have been waiting for the X-Men to show up.
Right. Yeah. Oh wait, we have the Mightiest Avenger coming, just all of a sudden walking out of a closet.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
And looking at a room, going, "What the heck?"
Yeah, exactly. Which clearly, in that scene, clearly they swapped places. So wherever Kamala is we're gonna basically find out in the Marvels. So in that situation, and I think it's gonna be a great moment when they do show the Marvels with her going downstairs and talking with the family. That's gonna be amazing. I can't wait when they film that scene and how that's gonna play out, which is gonna be hilarious.
I hate to burst your bubble. They may not even show that scene, but I would love for them to.
I hope they do. Again, we went through a podcast talking about how we love the family and community. So to not introduce that element would be great, especially in that scene how we talked about how I don't know who cares. How the father's like, I don't know who that woman is. I don't know who
she is.
I do not know who she is. So to finally have the moment for her to meet the woman that her child has been basically idolizing for the longest period of time, to come all of a sudden to come down would be such a funny moment, because it's like they're gonna be like, what is this white woman doing in our house?
The father, who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Carol Danvers. I don't know of you.
Yeah,
I think
to have
it would be
that moment,
the most brilliant scene.
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's a lot to play on at least on the comedy aspect of that until we get into a more whatever tone they're going to hopefully play within the Marvels film.
Yeah. So we have a lot of great things, and for the most part, the Marvels is wrapped in post. So this is we got a year. We have a year till we see Kamala again. I am looking forward to seeing more of this character. As a character, as I said, it was one of the series coming out. It was one of the ones I was looking forward to the most. Did it fully live up to my expectations? Honestly, no. Did I still enjoy it though? Yes. It's I got to know this character even more than I did previously. But I didn't know her that intimately like I do some of the other characters. But the more I know this character, the more I love this character. She's just in some ways she represents all of us the fans, who one day wish we could be one of our heroes, and she gets that opportunity, which makes her so easy to connect with. So yes, I look for it, and Amin Valiali, to get an unknown actress to give her the lead role in a series and in an upcoming movie, you know there's something special there, and she proves that she deserves to be in the MCU.
I couldn't agree with you anymore.
Isaac, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. A few hiccups to get to this episode, but we're finally here. It's in the can, and we will be talking soon.
Looking forward to it, man. Thank you.
Same here. Same here. Thank you again, Isaac, for joining us on the conversation about Ms. Marvel. And we want to hear from you. What did you think of Ms. Marvel? Let us know. Join the conversation. Find us on the social. Our Facebook group is facebook.com/group/Disney Marvels Podcast. Our new and improved Disney Marvels page is, check the show notes for the link, or search Facebook for DMP Fans. That's DMP as in Disney Marvels Podcast, Fans, FANS. Also on the Twitter at Disney Marvels Podcast. The Twitter is just at Disney Marvels. I speak too soon. I apologize. Instagram is Disney Marvels Podcast. TikTok, Disney Marvels Podcast. And our YouTube channel, where we go live during the summer, Saturday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join in the conversation, join in the fun, and be part of the show. You can also be part of the regular show by leaving a voice message and through the Anchor app and or Anchor.fm website, or record your message electronically on your smartphone, tablet, computer, whatever you have, and email it to disneymarvels@gmail.com. You can also email us with any questions or suggestions you may have, and we'll address them as well on the show. Don't forget to check out the latest Disney Marvel blog at disneymarvels.blogspot.com. Links to all of these are in the show notes. I want to thank you for your time. I know how little time we all have and how crazy life is, but the fact that we get to spend this time together really means a lot to me, a lot to us over here at the Disney Marvels Podcast. I cannot thank you enough. That's why I say the show is by fans, for the fans. If I could ask you, please tell your friends, share a link on social media, on your Instagram, on your TikTok, on your Snapchat, whatever you have. Share a link out. Let people know you're listening to the show. Let them know about the show. The more people we get listening, the better the show can be. If you want to do that, and if you really want to help the show out, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify, leave a rating review. Both of them, we have all 5-star reviews, but that's not enough. We need more. Please keep them coming. The more 5-star reviews that we get, the more reviews that we get on those platforms, the more that they will promote our shows, and the more that other people will join in, because Apple and Spotify are promoting our show. If they see we're getting good reviews, they'll do their part, and they do it for free. We don't have to pay them anything for it. You don't have to pay them anything for it. It is done, and is really appreciated. Us over here, myself, my co-host, we see those reviews, and even though we can't respond to them directly right there, we do respond on the show, and we do really appreciate it, and it really means a lot to us. It is very personal. The show is very personal for us. We do put a lot into the show, and we enjoy it because we're bringing it for you. We enjoy it. We enjoy all of you. So, thank you. It is a great way to say thank you. Also, like I said, tell your friends about the Disney Marvel podcast. The more people we have joining the family, the better it is. Walt believed in a big Disney family, and so do I. Don't forget to subscribe to the show while you're at it. This way you always know when new episodes are posted. And while you're at it, also consider becoming a premium subscriber. Really help the show out. You can do this over at anchor.fm/DisneyMarvels/support, or find our Patreon page. Links are in the show notes. You could also check out the merchandise over at the shop and get some really cool Disney Marvel podcast stuff. I just put up some new merch, some new designs, particularly for the live show. And it's up there now. Check it out. Get yourself some of the Disney Marvel Podcast live logo shows, equipment, shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, you name it. We got it on there. Magnets. Help yourself out. You get something cool. You help the show out as well. It would be much appreciated. And everyone wins. So remember, this show is brought to you by listeners like you. Hey, whatever you're facing out there, whatever darkness, hard times are coming down on you, and in this day and age that we live in, there's so much that can really burden you. Just remember, you are not alone. You are special. You are loved. You are the light of someone's life. Let your light shine for all to see, because it is beautiful. It is special, just like you are. If you need help, there are people that will bend over backwards to help you. You may not even know their names right now, but seek them, and they will be found. Just like Ms. Marvel. What is seeking you? What you are seeking is seeking you. So they may not know yet, but your paths are destined. Let your light shine for all the world to see. Be your own hero. Never give up. Never give in. Now I'd like to end this week's show with a quote, of course, from Walt Disney himself. To try and keep an operation like Disneyland going, you have to pour it in there. It's what I call keeping the show on the road. Not just new attractions, but keeping it staffed properly. Never letting your personnel get sloppy. Never let them be unfriendly. That's been our policy all our lives. My brother and I have done that, and that is what has built our organization. Again, that's Walt Disney. Thank you again for listening, everyone, and I'll see you next time.